Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I am back with a new episode of the Horizons Author Lounge. And I hope you guys are just excited as I am because we have some amazing guests tonight who have a lot of information about a lot of different things. If you have ever been thinking about getting into the literary industry, publishing your first book, this is the night that you really want to be watching the show. So I want you guys to sit back, relax, and I want you to meet my first guest, Miss Phyllis Dixon. Hello.
Hey there.
How are you tonight?
Oh, pretty good. Can't complain.
All right, all right. No, we can't complain anyway because nobody's gonna listen.
This is true.
So
This is
I want to congratulate you. Your latest book was just released back in June. Is that correct?
right. The last week of June.
Okay, so tell us about it. Do you have a copy
Okay.
of it with you?
I just happen to have a copy. A Taste for More.
I love the title.
A Taste for More. And the overarching question, I guess, is what would you do if your child had done something or you thought they had done something illegal?
Mm.
And then the short description is Mother's Daughter's Desserts Deceit. And basically, it's the story of Margot. Story takes place in the 60s and 70s. She leaves the South, like a lot of people did during the Great Migration, going to the Promised Land up north. But once she gets there, it's not the panacea she thought it would be. She was leaving Mississippi because she didn't want to be a cook like her mom and grandmother working in white women's kitchens, but that's what she ends up doing. But then she evolves, and eventually it works to her benefit. But her daughter does not necessarily, and she works to make sure that her daughter has every advantage. But as her daughter grows up, she does not necessarily appreciate all that her mother has done for her. And so that's where the drama comes in.
Wow. Well, that seems to be a narrative. I mean, young folks sometimes we just don't appreciate our mothers the way we should.
That's true. But one thing, every generation says that. Because I was reading something and it was a male had written it, or I think he was being interviewed, and he was saying that the young people these days they don't want to work hard, they don't understand all that they had to go through. It's a whole lot of things that he said, which sounds like somebody could say that today, and it was written
Mhm.
in like the 19 teens or something like that. It was like
Right.
what was that, the work WPA and all of those different uh, organizations that
Well,
they had with the slave
yeah.
narratives. Yeah. So I
Well,
think
no,
every
I
generation
agree.
feels that way.
That's what I was going to say, and that's why I say we don't, because
Yeah.
I'm sure the same things that I could be saying about Generation X or Generation Y and Z and the Millennials is the same thing that the baby boomers were saying about Generation X,
Yeah.
and the generation before them said the same thing about the baby boomers. Um, we when we describe our childhood, we make ourselves out to sound like we were perfect angels who never made a mistake and always listened.
Of
But
course.
we talk to our parents and they'll tell an entirely different story.
Of course.
So, what inspired this story?
Um, it's kind of hard to say. I just have a lot of ideas roaming around in my head. Sometimes I attribute it to being an only child. And so I
Mhm.
think I just, kind of made up a lot of stories and plus saw a lot of different movies and things like that from back in the day. And always thought, how I would do things a little different or, how I would tell the story. So it's kind of a combination of all of that.
I see. I see.
And some
So,
have asked, is that me and my mother? And no, it's not.
I know a lot of people think that when you're writing something, it's always based a little on true life, on
Hmm.
your true life.
Right. Right. No, I'm an only child, and my dad died when I was 12. So my mother and I
Mhm.
are really very close.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, so how's the feedback been so far in the book?
Oh, very good. Very good. Everybody keeps saying, oh, it should be a movie. And and the other thing is, one of the things I started to do, back in the day on Alfred Hitchcock, a couple of his movies, at the end, he had a notice or whatever that said, please, when you leave this theater, do not discuss the ending of the movie with anyone. So that's kind of the thing, is the book is kind of hard to discuss without giving away spoilers.
Right.
So um, so that's one of the things that I've been trying to what am I going to say? Trying to tell the story without telling the story, the whole story.
Well, you just have to give us those little nuggets to make us want to just go out and get the book and then continue reading.
Exactly, exactly. Well, and like I say, she was the Margot. She was the first one in her family to graduate from high school, and that was in the late '50s. So she figured she was all that and a bag of chips. And but once she got to the North, which in this instance was Milwaukee, um, it wasn't all that she thought it was going to be. She did end up being a cook like her mom, but eventually those recipes and things that she was so ashamed of, that really helped her to start and build a business. And then the recipes are in, well, no, but there's 10 or 12, I forget, recipes in the back of the book. So she worked at the 4th Street Cafe, and so the
Okay.
recipes in the back are called 4th Street Favorites. So just
I
kind of a little
like it.
something extra.
Yeah, I like that touch of adding recipes to the book. Well, where did the recipes come from? Are these your family recipes or recipes that people were able to submit?
They actually just go along with the story. For like 7 Up pound cake is one of the recipes, and her pound cakes play a predominant role in this story. So that recipe is in here. Her fried pies is one of the things she was known for. She was a cook like her mom, but also like her mother, she baked on the side. And so her
Right.
cakes and pies and things like that are in here. Molasses cookies are in here. They kind of had a little role in the story. But also, she went to Milwaukee, which is where I'm originally from. And
Okay.
Wisconsin has a large German immigrant population. So there's
Mhm.
some German based recipes in here as well, like German red cabbage and a German stew. So the recipes actually just went along with the story. So then what I had to do, some people when they do research for books, they get to travel or do fun stuff. And what I ended up doing was cooking, because the cooking is not my forte. But I did want to make sure I could say I had cooked the recipes. So the recipes that are in here, I have tried them all. And actually, the pound cake turned out pretty good. I have not made a scratch cake since high school in home ec, but the pound cake turned out pretty good. And I've made some more since then. So I had to kind of pat
Okay.
myself on the back.
So, the recipes that you tried out, were these your first time actually trying these particular recipes, or and then not so much the recipe, but was it your first time trying these dishes? Because there are lots of different
Mhm.
recipes for a lot of different dishes. But was this your first time actually trying these particular dishes?
Uh, sort of. Now, like the fried pies, my mother made fried pies all the time. So, sometimes I used to help her with those. So I was kind
Mhm.
of familiar with that. Like I say, the pound cake, that recipe came from a friend of mine, and that was my first time making a scratch cake in a gazillion years. Like I say, the red cabbage, the German cabbage, and that was my first time trying those recipes. Everything in there I did except the biscuits. Now, her biscuits are really what got her the job, and I wasted a lot of ingredients trying to make these biscuits. So, in all transparency, the biscuits are someone else's recipe, but I could never get mine to turn out right.
Oh, but that's okay. I mean, biscuits seem like they would be something that's easy to make or easy to do, and they're not always easy.
Mm-mm. Well, that's what I've heard. People say it's practice. But that again, it just goes to show how you don't appreciate people. Because I remember my grandmother, she would just roll them out and just like bam, 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 no big deal. Mm, didn't work for me.
Yeah, I've never actually tried making my own biscuit from scratch. I tried a recipe that I guess likened to actually making them from scratch, but it was well, not even a recipe. It was like a box, but it's still not the same as actually being able to make them totally from scratch. and I have no idea how to do it. I will probably mess it up, and somebody's probably going to chip a tooth if they if they tried
Yeah,
it. If they tried it, so that's not my ministry. There are certain things I can make, but biscuits, if
that's
they're
right.
not Bisquick, it's probably not happening.
That's right. Yeah, I hear you.
So, how many books does this make for you?
This is my fourth novel. So I had two that were self-published, and then last year Intermission came out, and now this one, A Taste for More, just came out.
And you said two are self-published, so the other two are traditionally published?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, which publishing company are you with?
Kensington.
Wonderful.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was with Kensington once upon a time. Um, what was it? A Dead Rose, I believe, was under Kensington. So they're a great company, and so congratulations on that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, they've been very good to work for. I had kind of heard horror stories just about, in general, publishing. We all know it's not what it used to be, but like you said, they've been very, very helpful. Maybe because I didn't have high expectations, like I knew they weren't going to send me on a tour and all that kind of stuff. But they've
I
been
think
helpful.
that's I think that's the issue. I think that when people become traditionally published, or people are always trying to strive for that brass ring of being traditionally published, because they think that that means that they can just sit down and relax and let the money roll in, and that the publishing company is going to do all the work. And unfortunately, that's just not how it is anymore.
No.
And even if you are traditionally published, you still have to get out there and market your book. You still have to go out and do book signings. So I mean, and then have you and now being on both sides of the fence, being self-published and traditionally published. Have you seen some evidence of that? You're still having to get out there.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. But in a way, though, and also because I had a bookstore too, I understand how important marketing is. But then I
Yes,
think that works to my advantage because the my editor and publicist at Kensington, they're just very, or maybe I just think, what is that Belle Biv DeVoe thing where they say, "I thought it was me," but I think they're very accommodating and helpful to me. But they see me doing these things, and they say, they have some authors, like you just said, that don't do anything. And so, like, because I had a few months where I had a sick family member, and so I kind of had to pull back. And so I told them, and apologize and blah 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 blah. And they were just, "Oh, you're fine, you're fine." And we have authors that don't do near as much as you do. So, like I said, but again, because I had the bookstore too, I understand that. Um, you have to get out there. And then I also understand too that, you know, the bookstore isn't going to pull in your audience for you either. And then I
right.
also understand that even if two people come, you still have to, do the same thing because you never know who those two people know.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Now, what do you see as the biggest difference between your journey as a self-published author versus being a traditional author?
Well, for me, it's the money because, and then also, like when I self-published, it was one in 2004 and one in 2016, but that was a little bit before print on demand and all that. So you actually really
Okay.
had to have the books in your garage and all that. So even though, you know, in the long run, I think people actually, you make more money self-publishing because you control more, you keep more. But the thing is, if I loan you $100 and you pay me back $2 every other week, it doesn't seem like I really ever got my $100 when you get it back in drips and drabs. Even though I put my $100 out at once. So to me, that's the biggest difference with self-publishing. You at least when I did it, I had to put the money out for those books, and now I don't have to do
That, that makes a lot of sense.
it.
That
Mm-hmm.
makes a lot of sense. And sometimes I tell authors all the time, you have to do what is right for you. And yes, you might get a smaller percentage when you have a traditional publisher, but it might be a smaller percentage over a wider reach. And you may not have as wider reach as a self-published author. So yes, you can have 100% of $200, or you can have 20% of 2,000 books.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, and then the other thing too is it also kind of depends on your social media presence, which I have not been very good at. I need to get better and do more. But if you're someone that, is very active on social media, has a lot of followers and all of that, you'll have a easier time than someone who's starting from scratch. So that's the other difference too.
Absolutely. Totally understandable. So now you have the book right now. Do you have any appearances coming out or coming up or oh, you're nodding. Okay.
I do. Let's see. Well, September 12th is actually in Memphis. I live in Memphis. They have a literary fair connected with the Southern Heritage Classic football game. So I'm going to be doing that on September 12th. Anybody in
Okay.
Memphis? At the end of September, I'll be at Six Bridges Book Festival, which used to be called the Little Rock Book Festival, but it's the book festival for Arkansas. And
Nice.
that's Friday and Saturday. I think it's the 27th and 28th of September. So those are the main two that I have coming up. In October, I have some book club virtual type things. But as far as me going somewhere, that's what I have right now.
Oh, so you are going to be a busy bee.
Well, you got to get out there. And then also, when you asked about the difference between the self-publishing and the traditional publishing, that is also the other difference too. I've never had to write to a deadline. So it's like, I had to get the next book to them at the same time that I'm marketing for A Taste for More. And it's just kind of um, you're always doing something. It's whereas if you self-publish, you kind of go at your own pace.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I thought the book was going to come out in May, but maybe I'll push it back to September. You don't really get to do that now. I mean, you
Yeah.
can, but you kind of have ruin your
Well,
reputation a little bit. So
that's something else that I tell authors when they're deciding between being self-published or traditionally published. I've been putting off writing a book for 2 years. I can do that because I'm self-published, but I've been to the other side when I was traditionally published, and they told me that I have to have the book turned in by such and such date. And when you
right,
have a hard deadline like that, it doesn't matter if you feel like writing that day or if you feel that you don't have time. You have got to get that book done. And I tell people all the time, when Carl Weber told me he wanted my book on December 31st, guess what I was doing on New Year's Eve? I was working on getting that book finished.
right,
Saying Happy New Year was going to happen later on. I needed to get that book done because that's when he said I needed to turn it in.
right.
So,
Because there's a whole ecosystem that works with
yeah,
that. And there's a group that works on the cover and the marketing. And because, like I say, even though they don't send you on a tour, they do some things, and they send it out for reviews and all that stuff. And then you got to also look at, you're not their only client. So they got
yeah.
other people in the queue as well. So if you mess up, then that kind of, or I shouldn't say mess up, but if you're late, that kind of throws everybody behind you off
Mm-hmm.
schedule as well.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. So now the events that you have coming up, the first one I believe you said was a festival in Memphis. Is that open to the public?
Yes.
Okay, so how can people find out information about it?
Okay. Now, shame on me. I should know that. I know it's at the Orange Mound Community Center, and it's September 12th. I don't know the time, but my contact information is on my website. So if someone is interested in more details, and before then, I'm sure I'll have it on my website too and on my Facebook page. But you can always contact me on my website too for more information about that, or if you got a book club or anything like that.
Okay, well, I do have the link to your book on the screen, but I don't think I have the link to your website. So what is your website?
Phyllis R. Dixon, PhyllisRDixon.com.
Okay, phyllisrdixon.com.
Yep.
Okay, and here it is on the screen right now. So if you want information on anywhere Phyllis is going to be, and it looks like she's going to be in about 2 or 3 different places in September, go ahead and go to her website and you can find that information. And you can also click the link to get a copy of her book. So,
And what a taste for more is really it's just I say I write juicy drama. So there's no, I mean, there's some themes in there about, forgiveness and abandonment and all that, but it's really not that deep. It's just, juicy drama. So we have a few more weeks of summer left. So, and summer seems to be the time when people are kind of more interested in um, drama as opposed to more serious reading. So a few more weeks of summer left. So you still got time to get a taste for more.
all right. So, and for those of you who have read A Taste for More, as I always say, make sure you are writing reviews. Share the word. Let people know how you felt about this book. How did it make you feel? Did you enjoy reading it? Because there are so many readers out there who will not buy a book unless they see some reviews. So it's best to, if you like for instance, there are certain movies that have come out on Netflix, Hulu. For instance, I was watching The Supremes on Hulu a couple nights ago. I didn't know about that movie because I'm not always on the streaming services. I have all of the streaming services, but I'm not always on them all the time. But I did not know about that particular movie until somebody posted on Facebook about it. I was like, oh, what is that? Let me go look it up. And the same thing goes for books. Sometimes there are some books out there that are very popular because they have a social media presence, not because the author is posting all the time, but because readers have posted about how good they thought that book was. And that's going to make other readers want to read the book. So it's very important that we as readers support the books that we love and support the authors that we love and spread the word about these great stories, because that's the way that authors are able to sell more books. Would you agree, Phyllis?
And also I would say, as A Taste for More is my first book that's on Audible. And
Nice.
I think part of that is because Intermission, even though Intermission, I do have a copy of that as well. So even though Intermission was my first my third novel, it was my first traditionally published novel. So for them, I was considered a new author. So they didn't put it on Audible. But I think because of the reviews that I had, and I did have a lot of requests for Audible, that they did put A Taste for More on Audible. So I'm kind of excited about that because that's my first book on Audible. And
So
again, that's because of the reviews.
How did it feel to not just see your book in print, but to hear the story? Did it have a whole different vibe listening to it?
It was kind of almost hard to even imagine that I wrote it because I didn't read it. Somebody else wrote it. And so it was just kind of like, wow, somebody's reading what I wrote. So yeah, it was different, but yeah, I was excited about it.
Does it feel like that, or if the reader like really caught the essence of the story and they were able to translate that?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
That's great because
And I forget her name, but she reads quite a few of the narrates, I should say, quite a few of the books by Black authors for Kensington. So she's done quite a few.
I've probably heard some of her books myself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well that's awesome. Congratulations on that. Because Audible, or I should say, audiobooks, not just Audible, because Audible is only one company, but audiobooks are getting very popular. For myself, I listen to audiobooks. There are times when I'm listening to them when I'm driving, when I'm exercising, like when I take my walks, I listen to a book. I don't listen to music. Sometimes if work is not too hectic, I'll listen to an audiobook while I'm at work. So for me, that's my way of relaxing. And I've found that more and more people are moving toward audiobooks because they don't always have time to sit down and read a physical book. So you're actually probably able to find an entirely new audience because you have delved into that audiobook world now.
Yes, and driving too. A lot of people say they listen while they drive.
Yep.
So
Going to work. I live in the DMV. It takes me at least 30 minutes to go anywhere I need to go. At least 30 minutes. Sometimes
oh,
it's longer than that. So listening to an audiobook breaks up the monotony of being in all of that traffic.
yeah, ooh, yeah, your traffic is bad.
Oh, it's terrible.
And one thing that happened to me, because I worked for the government, um, so we had to go to Washington frequently. And one of the first times I went, I had the address, I gave it to the cab driver, so I said cab, so this was a while ago. And where he took me, I was like, well, no, this isn't our office, this isn't it. Well, our office was in Southeast, I think it was,
Mm,
and he had taken me northeast or whatever, somewhere else. Anyway, it was on the other side of town, and I was not used to that. At that time, I didn't understand that they had the quadrants there. So
right.
just because you have an address, you still need the northeast, northwest. You need to know that part of it too. So yeah, your traffic.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. The first time I ever drove in DC, I was so confused because I think I was in Southeast, and I thought if I kept driving, I'd eventually end up in Northeast, but that didn't work out.
Yeah, keep driving. You're gonna be in Virginia.
Shoot, keep driving. You'll be in Maryland. You'll be in Virginia on your way to Delaware. Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, you can end up in West Virginia.
Yeah, well. But one thing I do like Washington, because I did travel a lot, and the one thing I like about Washington, it was DC, was a place I could go. And I mean, I don't mind traveling by myself, but I can really uh, keep myself entertained by myself. There's so much to do. All the
Right.
museums were free. So I do like traveling there now that it's not for work.
Right, right. So,
And
well,
Lana, no, I'll
I'm
just say that
sorry.
one of the characters in the book, her daughter, she ends up going to Howard too, in
Oh,
DC.
see, yeah, right. See how it all comes back to the DMV? Well, Phyllis, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. I enjoyed our conversation, and congratulations once again. Can you show us the book cover one more time?
A taste for more.
Okay, and here is the link if you'd like to get it on Amazon, or if you would like to support the author directly, you can go to her website, phyllisrdixon.com. So, congratulations once again. I'm looking forward to reading the book. I know you gave a few little snippets. You didn't want to give too much. Just give a little, take a little back. But that's all right though. You gave us just enough to make us really want to get into this book. So,
Thank you.
thanks so much for that.
Appreciate the invite. Thank
All right,
you.
you have a great evening.
All right, you too.
All right, y'all. That was author Phyllis Dixon. And I'm looking forward to reading her book. And I hope you guys do the same. Now, before we move to our next guest, I just want to send out a couple of reminders because a lot of you guys messaged me. You got the email about the For the Culture Book Awards. And you were probably a little bit confused on the submission period. So the submission period starts September 1st and will end November 1st. So you have an entire 2 months to submit your book. Now remember, this contest is only for fiction authors. It's not for poetry authors and children's authors. You guys write fiction, but there is no category for children's books. So you will be competing against contemporary fiction, historical fiction, and other adult type books. So just keep that in mind. So if you feel that you can stand up to those and you can compete against those books, you're more than welcome to participate. But this book is totally for fiction authors, and it's for fiction authors whose stories pour into African American fiction, that uplift African American fiction. There will be 3 prizes, first, second, and third. You'll be getting cash as well as prizes. and all of the prizes total nearly $10,000. So this is an amazing contest. I really hope you guys will consider being a part of. Remember, the submission period opens, not ends. The submission period opens September 1st. Also, as you guys know, I've been doing a lot of touring lately. I'm going to be at the Harlem Book Festival very soon. These are my tour dates. On September 7th, I'll be at the Harlem Book Festival. And then also in September, on September 15th, I will be hosting a Greek Explosion, a showcase of D9 talent. This is going to be happening right here in Maryland. If you are in the Maryland area, I would love for you guys to be in the audience so I can shout you out. But I'm looking forward to this. I mean, this is a Greek Explosion for the grown folks, as you can see. So if you're in Maryland, contact me and I can get you more information about this. It is not too late to get your tickets. This is going to be a fun event, and I really would love for you to be there. So other than that, last thing is I'm going to keep reminding you guys, the Black History Month Literary Weekend will be February 20th through the 22nd. And the deadline to be a part of this event is December 31st. We're looking for sponsors for our Black History Month quiz, daily quiz questions. We're looking for sponsors for our Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions, Author Lounge, shows that are going to take place throughout the month of February. And we're looking for sponsors for the entire event. So if you'd like more information, just go to www.mtwimagesolutions.com and find out more about the Black History Month Literary Weekend. I'm telling you, this is an amazing weekend. There are going to be 12 different featured authors. We're going to have an amazing guest speaker who is a part of true Black history. So I want to make sure that you guys are a part of that. So more information to follow. Just keep following us on all major platforms and you'll find out more information. But now, without any further ado, it is time to bring on our next guest, my girl, Julia Royston.
Hey, love, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Oh, child. It's just great to be alive. It's great to be alive. How are you?
Girl, I'm staying busy. You heard all of those announcements I just gave.
Child, I saw the church. No, I saw the Dr. Rhonda announcements. My Lord, I got tired watching them. So I'm not going to share mine.
Well, you are the CEO of Royston Publishing, and you have been doing some major things yourself.
Yes. So BK Royston Publishing will be in February 17 years old.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it's going to be 17 years old. And, you know, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, how did we get here? Like, were we really supposed to be here, God? And he's like, you just kept on going. You kept listening. You kept obeying. And so here we are. So BK Royston Publishing is my faith-based, family-friendly publishing company. I have a second one, Royal Media and Publishing. And so that is just where urban fiction is, mystery thrillers, adult fiction is at Royal Media and Publishing. But BK Royston Publishing is where the children's books are, inspirational, devotionals, that genre. It has to, as they say, pass that litmus test. So super excited about all that's happened, all that's, moving forward. I think with being an entrepreneur, it's not for the faint of heart. It's not, you well know that with your businesses as well. It is just not for the faint of heart. And making sure that you're doing what you love and enjoying doing it. And then you always return back. I always have to return back to my why as to, the reason why I'm there. And I tell authors all the time, I have to return to my why, and not so much of me doing it, and especially as I'm getting older, as to what this book was about, what this book was for every time. And so my librarian experience, because I'm a retired librarian, technology teacher. So my librarian experience has taught me the curating process, to be able to curate specifically what people desire to read, what they want to read, and then how I can guide them to what I have to offer. Now, I can't do like I used to. I used to just tell you about everything in everybody's book. I can't keep up with that. I support other authors. I interview them. I make sure they get shout outs. I can't buy everybody's book. I'd be broke because I meet so many authors all the time. But really making sure that that I'm curating things that, and maybe we'll talk about that, really what's going on in the market, even along with what you love to write and what you enjoy writing.
Wow. So let's go back. You said you always have to remember your why. Let's talk a bit about what your why actually was.
Well,
Or is.
first off, my first why was just obedience to God, because I thought I was going to be a one book wonder. I had no idea I would write 105.
Woo.
So, yeah. So I didn't foresee that. So I went to lunch. Well, no, we met at Starbucks, and I'm always going to snack and eat something out of there. But anyway, we went and we were talking about, she had published the books too. And she said, have you ever thought about having your own publishing company? I said, oh, no, child. She said, well, how many books do you think you're going to write? I said, probably about maybe 2, maybe 3, because I really enjoyed the first one. But my first why was a command from God. I had everything in those. Come on, I'll even show the audience. The notebooks, I still have them on my desk. The 80 count notebooks from the dollar store, still. And I still have a stack of them. And back to school, they was on sale for 39 cents. Oh, I had to get several. And so that's where I started. So my first why was an act of obedience. So there's power in that. I don't know where your faith walk is. I don't know where your belief system is, but there's power in obedience. If you say yes once, you never know where you'll be next. So that was all it was. And when I did it, I did a one woman show. And here's the first cover. I found it and I held on to it. That's the first cover. Me, look how young I was. See, no gray hairs, So, but it was a one woman show because I was singing more. I was singing probably 72 events a year. There's only 52 weeks in a year, but I was singing a lot, multiple services. She'll be here at the 8 and the 9:40 and the 6 p.m. on Saturday. So I released the book of poetry with music that I've written, because I write music too. And then it was a DVD. So it was kind of a whole live recording, move out of the way. The comedians, I did the same thing, stood on the stage. I had a musician over here on the side, and then I wrote it out. So my first why was obedience. My second why is now I need to make sure that my voice is heard and other voices can be heard in the literary marketplace. You realize there have been people who've been published, no matter how you've been published, but really via technology and the ability for starting with Create Space moving forward, we have really been able to jump into the literary market. And so therefore now I'm looking for, voices to be heard. Now moving even further, I'm looking for, because I love the writing process so much, I'm just addicted to it. That's one thing I'm addicted to, and get really kind of irritated when I don't get it right enough. But now I'm looking for gaps in the market. That's the reason why people say, oh, I can self-publish. You sure can. But one of the things about being self-published is that sometimes you need a coach. You don't necessarily have to pay anybody for publishing, but you're going to need to have someone or spend your time searching what's going on, keeping up with what's hot and what moves in the market, or what gaps are in the market. And when I go to events, that helps me. So my why now is, yes, I still want voices to be heard, but I'm looking for those gaps, those breaches, because most of the time, even like with music, they get a sound that sells and they repeat it. Like, well, we can just keep doing that over and over and over again. But then there are certain gaps in the market that really need to be filled and that people are asking me for repeatedly, that I know, okay, when I find a gap in the market, I got to jump in some kind of way, whether I write it or I'm finding an author who's writing it. So those are kind of my why. And then, of course, I guess finally, fourth, I just love it. I just love what I do.
And
Period.
I'm glad that you added that piece in there, because often I think we sometimes forget to love what we do.
Yeah.
We're so busy trying to chase the almighty dollar
Oh, my
that,
Lord.
yeah, or we're so busy trying to compare ourselves to other people, or
Yeah.
we're so busy trying to outdo that we just forget to actually love what we do.
Well, and then that's a huge part of it, because every time you are at an event, or even if somebody finds you on social media and the book is up there, you're
Mhm.
gonna, and you post it, or you just do general promotion of posting it, or on an interview such as this, you're gonna have to tell why. You're gonna have
Yeah.
to repeat that, and you're gonna need to be, that book needs to be your baby. Now I have 105 babies. Between journals and children's books and fiction and romance fiction and contemporary fiction, all of that. But you've got to make sure that you are the champion for it. I know people want to be, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. They want to be divas and they just want to show up and the book is out there it is. But it doesn't work like that. Not for me. That may work for that, like, wait, for other people, but it doesn't work like that for me. So making sure that you love the book that you put out, love the book that you represent. As a publisher, I tell authors, remember, your name's on the front. My logo may be on the back and my reference to the ISBN may be inside, but it's your name that's on the front, on the cover. So love it. Owe up to it.
Exactly.
Take
Exactly.
responsibility for it. It's your baby. You're going to have to help sell it and move it.
Yeah, and that was what I was talking with our last guest about, is that even if everybody's trying to reach for that brass ring of being traditionally published, and they think that they can just sit back and relax and just wait for the dollars to roll in, and they get a bit disenchanted when they realize that they still have to promote their own book. They still have to get out there, and that they're not going to be sent on 10 city tours.
No, well, and I tell people all the time, I've said it a lot of times on interviews that, when Denzel, when Kevin Hart, when Oprah, when they have to stop promoting what they have to offer, a movie, a special, and they don't have to pay millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars to promote,
Mhm.
that's when we can stop. But every new movie, you'll see that they're going to be on a tour. And
Yep.
no, every book that comes out is not tour worthy. Sorry, it is just not. Because one, you haven't been um engaging enough to even be worthy of people wanting to get in the car, put clothes on, and come out to see you. And so
Right.
therefore, because you don't want to talk about it enough, you don't want to open up your phone and push the red go live button and talk about it in 5 minutes. No, I don't want to do that. It's on Amazon. Everybody can get it. Oh, okay. Well, it's gonna be on Amazon and it's bought. Amazon gonna get it 60%. Hello. And then
Right.
you're gonna be sitting there waiting on that 40 on the 29th of the month. Oh, I know how Amazon works. On the 29th of the month and still be disgusted because and complaining because Amazon didn't promote my book. Well, they weren't supposed to. They weren't supposed to have it available. They
Amazon's not
wasn't
gonna
going to
promote
promote
it
it.
either.
No, no, no.
Yeah, you
Wow.
have to pay a little extra for that.
You have to pay a lot extra for that. And you have to be careful too, because there's some scammers using the Amazon name too. I've ran into one of those. I didn't even know they was that. I knew Amazon had a publishing arm, not just the KDP, but a publishing arm. But they
Okay.
got scammed by somebody saying that and took their money. And by the time they bird dogged it down, they got their money back. But it was the whole point of, what? Really? So it is really our responsibility as the author, not just the publisher. We're in partnership with you, but it's still your book. it's still, and I have published people that have been traditionally published. So I kind of have the inside track. I always get rejected. So I'm going to be honest. I tried. I was like, well, let's just go through the process. They don't even let me get past the. They just like, oh no, you're not a good fit.
Yeah,
And I'm
that's
like,
always
okay.
the thing. It's not you, it's us, right?
It's not. Oh no, it's not you. It's a wonderful. It's not you. It's me. Oh Lord. So I just at 61 years old, I'm like, if it happens, it's gonna happen because they came for me. I'm just gonna keep moving forward and enjoy the platforms and helping people and speaking about it and helping people get their message out. So that's where I am.
Now, how do you choose the authors whom you want to work with? I mean, if somebody, let's say somebody is listening to this show and they say, I think I want her to publish me. Do you have a selection process?
I
Where
do.
you're
I
going to work
do.
with?
So I have to, and I've said no. And most people are like, well, you're independent. People pay me to do the work. Yes, they do. But I have said no.
And you say no
So
because why?
it didn't fit. Well, it was a thriller, but it was too much for either one of my brands. I
Mm,
couldn't. I have to read through it. Like I say, your name may be on the front, but my logo is still on the back. So I still have to. I can't even go into detail. It was horrific, and I'm like, no, I can't roll like that. Even if it was two adults, it's too creepy. So, it was those things that it has to be a part of my personal conviction, and so therefore that's usually it. And then I sometimes I'm convicted or have discernment that this is just not going to work. This is not going to be a good fit. There's going to be more demand that I have team for. There's going to be more demand. It's the first book and they want to be treated like it's their 30th book. And what they're asking for, I'm like, no, this is not going to work. Your best fit is here and here and here. So
now,
I have to have a conversation with you first. We have
now
to
let's
talk.
talk a little bit about that though, because there's probably somebody who's saying, well, I'm special too. I'm mainstream too. I know this might be my first book, but this is a good book, and I shouldn't be mistreated just because I don't have 30 books. So let's talk about what you mean when you say somebody with their first book is trying to be treated like it's their 30th book.
Okay, so the people that I'm talking about, when I'm talking about it's your first book and you're wanting to be treated like it's your 30th book, is that it's the people who say, oh no, I don't like social media. I don't want to be
Yeah.
on social media. Do you have an email address? No, I don't do email. Okay, so do you teach? Do you coach? Do you speak? No, I don't like to do that. I just want to write and just, we're gonna have some issues. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking
Right.
because I have had people, thank you for calling me on it, because I've had people with first books and have done beyond their wildest dreams and mine too, and done very, very well and turned it into a whole business. But you've got to be willing to do your end, to do your end. Some of
Right.
it just won't fit into either one of my brands. That's usually number one, that it doesn't fit in the brand. And then the manuscript, usually number two, the manuscript, I'm thoroughly confused. And I read very, very fast. And so if I'm confused, then I'm like, editing and all that, I don't know if it will fix it. Especially when you feel like, no, this is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm standing behind it, and you're gonna, ooh, okay. Yeah, that's number two. And then number three, the whole diva thing. And I look and you got 10 people following you, you got 10 friends. And you can do a lot with just 10 friends on social media. If you got an email list, or if you speak, or if you, I mean, I'm not saying that, there's some people who do not accept authors unless they got, 3,000 friends and Instagram is 10,000 and all that. I get that on that level. But if you don't have built an audience, or you're not striving to build an audience, or you don't even want to learn how to build an audience, then I got to say, okay, am I going to be, you know, get the product
So,
to you and then you'll be mad at me because it doesn't sell? Or am I going to walk you through the whole process, you know?
so basically what you're saying is that you gotta, one part, you have to pay some dues. You're not going to get into the major magazines and the major newspapers just because you wrote your first book,
No.
unless that is a really, really compelling story.
Or you have a connection to something
Yes,
that's mainstream, like, you know, like the
yes,
people who wrote books that were in the wave of the social justice area and they got it out quickly, and that wave was moving in 2020. But to try to do
exactly.
that now, it's going to really be an historical perspective as opposed to riding the wave. They'd be like, okay, we didn't chew that up and spit that out and, you know, put it in a blender and put it in a smoothie. I mean, we've done that. What's
Right.
going now is this. We're right here is where we are now. Or so it just
Mhm.
all depends. You know, some people are able to catch it time wise. Timing
Right.
is still everything. It's still timing. Still makes a difference. It
And
still does.
now the other part about it is, what I'm hearing you say is that you have to realize that you're going to have to work a little bit harder to build that following. You
Yeah.
may have a great book and you may be popular in your circle, but there are over 1 billion people in the country who still need to hear,
Yeah.
who don't know who you are.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And
But
so
you
they
have to
need
say
to
you're
learn.
willing to go and do that. Like you're willing to be in those spaces and places. And that's the reason
Right.
why I'm like, I always fuss at preachers because they have an audience every week. I don't care if there's 150 in the seats or 10,000. They already have an audience built and people are coming back and forth every week. And I'm like, you don't, you know, you don't have a brand book, something that goes along. You've seen what it can do, you know, and you already have a built-in audience. It doesn't have to be that large. I mean, I was in at
Mhm.
an event not too long ago, and it was a very nice event, very, you know, very nice event. And there weren't a lot of people there, but they were buying 2 and 3 books at a time. So that was moving. It didn't have to, we didn't need 1,000 people in the room because they was buying the books big time because they wanted to support ministry, etc. So I mean, you know, it just all depends on what your timing is, what your message is, and
Yes,
wanting to meet the need of that particular reader right then.
absolutely. Absolutely. Girl, I don't know what it is when we start talking. The time just flies by.
Y'all
We
think
only
I
have like,
looked up, I thought, well, look at here.
that's what I said. We only have 5 minutes left. I don't know what happened.
It is what it is. You
Ridiculous.
know, we have a wonderful time together every time we're together, no matter
This is
where it
true.
is. You know, that's what
This is
happens when
true.
you're actually in the business of the business. It does make a difference. Yeah.
Well, now what's going on with you next? Do you have any appearances coming up? Are you going to be in Houston again?
I'll be in Houston, National Black
Yay!
Book Festival. Yay! And I'll be on the live stream with you guys. I think it's in a couple weeks or so. We'll be talking about the sessions. Yes, I'll be there. And so I'm pretty much kind of home in the Louisville area. So check out my Facebook page, and I'm usually telling you every week. I go live at 9:30 on Sunday morning, so and do my own church announcements every week, and so that kind of gives you an idea of where I'm going to be. But yes, I will be in Houston at the National Black Book Festival. I will be in Atlanta in November at the National Alliance of Black School Educators. I'll be there too as well. So I
That
travel a
sounds
lot.
great.
And let me show you the other book that this is like 100. And so I'm working on a vendors, hopefully it'll be done. I'm still in the editing, the proofing stage, but vendors and exhibitors wanted a guide to events. Now it's not just for authors, it's for anyone in business. So I tried to make it as general as possible,
Okay.
so that people who do events, I was in your area, the DMV area,
You were
and
in my area and you didn't tell me?
I was last year. No, I was no,
I've been
no.
living here since 2020.
Oh, really? Just 2020? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'll make sure that I let you know the next time I'm in town.
All right.
But I was in that area, and some women business owners like, we don't know what we're doing as far as events go, and it got my wheels turning. That was a gap in the literary market, and so my editor was like, "Ooh, you was real thorough." I said, "Yeah," because the more I thought about it, the more I started thinking about what's the difference in being in a vendor event where it is a coach platform. Say, for example,
Right.
Coach Ann, I'll use my middle name. Coach Ann has an event. Well, she's built a tribe. So if you're privileged enough to be on her platform or even your platform, this is their platform. You got to follow their rules. You got to make sure that you're in their guidelines. What are they letting you pitch? What are they letting you offer? What are they, so I talked about that. If you're at events that are denominational events, church
Mm-hmm.
events, what does that look like? What does it look like to be outside at a big, huge festival? What does that look like? So there are a lot of things that no matter what you're selling, jewelry, clothes, whatever, there's something that I cover for everybody. And then, you gotta count up the cost. And then you gotta also don't eat up your seed. I had
Mm.
an author who said, "Oh, I went to an event. I sold all my books." I said, "Great." He said, "Now I need to fundraise to get the money for my next order." I said, "No, you had the next order money in your hand." I said, "You
No,
ate
you
up your
used it.
seed. You ate up your seed." He said, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Boo. Once you sell it, you always take out the money you need to replenish your inventory. You can't eat up."
Right.
Oh, and I said, then you'll always have, yeah. So it's those kinds of things that, some people, they were like, "Oh, yay, I got $500. That is so great." But how much is it going to take for you to replenish your inventory? Is it going to take 200?
Right.
Take 300? Take part of your profit. So it's those kinds of things that I include that maybe some people who do events are not considering, not
I might
thinking.
have to check that book out, and I'm guessing that's on Amazon.
Not yet, not yet, not yet.
Okay.
It's not done yet. I'm still in the they say a thorough rewrite, but I want it to be ready for October. I want
I'm
it to
about to
be,
say I'm gonna need it to be ready for October because I have an event I do every February, and I could always use some extra tip.
baby. You know what? I got a checklist. So I got all that. Yeah, it's gonna be ready for October. That's my goal. That's definitely my goal. So I appreciate always this opportunity. I'm on all social media platform. I even did Threads. I was like, oh Lord, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna have to learn that one. I don't know
Girl,
what
I
that's
went
about.
on Threads and I left again. I guess I'm gonna have to go back.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying it out for the first time. And so I'll see how it goes and see what it is. When I could post to Instagram and it posts the threads too, I'm like, okay, I can kill two birds with one. Okay, good. Maybe that'll help me.
There you
I
go.
can get two at a time as we go. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. Super excited about
Well,
all that's happening with me.
Julia Royston, I'm excited about what's happening with you as well. And I just want to thank you for being a light in this industry and always willingly sharing and freely sharing information and encouragement to so many authors and up and coming authors and wannabe authors.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
this is what you do. So,
Yeah, this is
um,
definitely what I do, especially at the National Black Book Festival. I feel like I, need to put up a sign that says I can help because that's a lot what happens. I teach there, of course, you teach there, you interview the celebrity authors or any other author that's there and do a
mhm,
lot with National Black Book Festival, and I'm honored to be a part of that program. But that is really one of my number. Yeah, I have books to sell and I have books to offer, but my why for being there is really to help other authors who may be new or first time or have questions. So I really take that to heart, and I know what it's like to have questions and people won't answer them. Now, I'm not
yes.
going to necessarily say I'm going to give away the world for free, but I'm going to point you in the direction, go down two streets and turn right at the McDonald's.
Too
Or go
funny.
to
Too
my
funny.
website and you can download that course or you can get that book. But I really want you to get answers. There's nothing worse than having questions and everybody's going to hide it. Like, it's like Fort Knox gold, oh,
Right.
no, I can't tell. No, I found it out. I can help you too. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, once again, Thank you for being on the show.
My pleasure.
Unfortunately, we hit that top of the hour.
I
But
know. I love it.
Elisa wants to know if there's a link for the Houston Festival. Yes, just go to National Black Book Festival, and it'll give you all the information that you need for that festival. And we will both be there.
Yep.
And we're looking forward to meeting all of you.
Yay! Looking
Right,
forward to it.
So very quickly, if there's somebody out there who wants to be published and they want to be published through BK Royston Publishing, do they just need to go to your website?
You can go to there, or you can get on my calendar, talkwithroyston.com. So that is my calendar to schedule a conversation, because I'm all about talking, and I'm all about let me see your vision, let me explore your vision, let's talk about the vision of your book, and see definitely how I can help. And looking forward to. So talkwithroyston.com. Let's have a conversation.
All right, y'all. That was Julia K. Royston. I told you she had a lot to share, and she did not disappoint, because she never disappoints.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You be blessed, and I look forward to seeing you in Houston as well.
Likewise. Have a great night. All right, y'all. That was the end of the show. We are at 8 o'clock. I want to thank you all for continuing to support the Horizons Author Lounge and supporting the wonderful authors who are a part of this amazing show. Help us to continue to make this show continue to grow. Our numbers are growing on YouTube. We're growing on Facebook, Instagram. We're over 10,000 followers on Instagram now. Thank you so much for your support. And we're just going to continue to roll with it, because so we can continue to support authors, because this is what we do. So follow me on all social media platforms, and then visit me at www.mtwimagesolutions.com if you need more information on promoting your book, getting published, or if you just need a coach to get you to the finish line with your book. We have it all for you. All you have to do is just give us a call. So that's all we have for tonight, guys. Enjoy your evening. Have a very blessed and safe week. And don't forget to meet me at the National Black Book Festival Facebook page tomorrow for another episode of Black Authors Matter TV, because we're going to have some fire for you. All right, that's all, guys. God bless you and good night.